On your Wednesday episode of Locked On Raptors, we went to sleep, we woke up, we pinched ourselves a little bit, and yeah, Kawhi Leonard's still a Toronto Raptor.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors. It is Wednesday, July the 1st, and I am your host, your pal, Sean Woodley. Thanks for hanging as always. And on today's show, we're still talking about Kawhi Leonard being on the Toronto Raptors in the year of our Lord, 2026. It's crazy. Still haven't wrapped my head around it fully. I also haven't really stopped buzzing since it happened. It's thrilling. It's exciting. I can't wait to watch this team play basketball. And we're going to talk about all of that, our sort of day after reactions and feelings about the trade, imagining what this team is going to look like on the floor. We'll talk about the pick outlay. It was confirmed by Shams Charania what picks are being sent to the Clippers. We'll get into whether it's good or bad that they're further out picks, unprotected, going to LA. And then we'll take a look at the robust minimum signing market, baby, and see just who the Raptors might be able to uncover to fill out this roster. And we're going to do it all with our dear pal, Vivek Jacob, who's doing double duty this week, making up for all that time he was slacking while covering the World Cup. And also, I just had to get your takes on this trade, dude. How you feeling this morning, pal?
Amazing. Kawhi Leonard in Toronto. It wasn't a leverage play. He actually wants to be here. He actually wants to seemingly, reportedly retire here.
What a world, man.
So, yeah, incredible. You look at the assets given up. Obviously, you're okay with the players given up. The picks, we'll get into that. But right now, this team should be no less than top 3 in the East, I believe, and arguably top 2. And, we can get very excited about what that might look like against the Knicks. But, yeah. Excited, man. Excited to be in that top tier conversation again.
It is a delight to not just be looking up at the Knicks and the Celtics and yearning to be part of that crew again. They're there, man. They're going to be really damn good, health provided. But I also think if Kawhi misses time, I talked about this yesterday, I think they are pretty well set up because of the lack of players they sent out to weather the storm if Kawhi is going to miss time too. And last night, dude, I'm sitting in my chair. I'm watching the World Cup. That's all fun and good. But I just kind of wander towards looking up old Kawhi clips from 2018-19, stuff he said, laughs he expelled, and obviously the very many incredible on-floor basketball exploits. And look, it's not 2018-19. He's not as sort of rim forward as he used to be. He's very much a guy who's 35 and has kind of adjusted his game to that, but he's still an absolute killer. He had his most efficient season ever last season, somehow his highest scoring season last year, somehow. And I just had the stupidest, biggest grin on my face watching these clips back for like hours. Just okay, let's just this highlight reel, this game winner against the Blazers, that was the prelude to the actual shot against the Sixers, the dunks, the Terminator stuff he was pulling out. He was incredible. And yeah, it's a totally different team. It's a different context. It's not like we can't do the comparisons to 2018-19 forever, but I think it's when you sit down to watch what Kawhi Leonard's all about and kind of remind yourself, I think any sort of concern about, the pick outlay and how's this all going to work, it kind of just washed away for me, because if Kawhi's on the floor, this team's going to be absolutely nails. And I think the other sort of thing I've been thinking about here too with the Big V is I think it's going to elevate everyone around him. And it's going to sort of, I think, shed new light on guys like Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett and even Jakob Poeltl, frankly. Like, I think it's just going to make it all make a whole lot more sense. Everything's going to fall into place. And I'm excited for not just seeing Kawhi play basketball, but to see how having a guy like that, a force like him on the floor, is going to elevate all of those around him. What do you kind of think about that? Are you similarly excited to see the guys around him benefit from him being on the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of like the question mark, and I've written for Yahoo on the best case, worst case of three key aspects, and for me, the three key aspects are his health, the timeline window, and lastly, the leadership.
Hmm.
And so for me, when I looked at the timeline window, that for me is like, okay, so you've got these 3 years,
Hmm.
and so as much as it can be about, Kawhi being healthy for this window, it's also about can that group around him elevate within that window.
Hmm.
So that's where we're talking about. You expect it from Scotty, but that's where we're talking about the Emmanuel Quickleys, the AJ Barretts, Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Colin Murray-Boyles. This is, in terms of the makeup of the roster, in stark contrast to what you had with the 2019 team. It is a
Definitely. Yeah.
very young team that you're asking to piece together. Thankfully, you're not asking them to piece it together within one season.
Hmm.
And so they do have a bit of a runway, you'd like to think. And so hopefully, for me, it's, in the next 3 seasons, having two proper cracks at it.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think too, I'm glad you mentioned like Walter and Shed and, throw Colin Murray Boyles in here too, right? Like, this isn't a trade that is feasible if the Raptors don't hit on those guys in the last couple of years, right? Like, it just wouldn't make sense to bring Kawhi into a roster that doesn't have that back end depth to fill in and, complement what you've got going with your more expensive starting five. And so credit to the Raptors for finding those hits, for turning Jamal Shed into a player as a second round pick that they got, for dumping Jalen McDaniels. Okay, awesome, great, love it. Credit to Jacoby Walter for the work he's put in to become, at the very least, like a nice fitting role player. And then obviously Colin Murray Boyles is kind of the guy who pops this thing off the whole top, right? Like, if he really hits, if he continues to add on to what he did, like, that just makes this team so terrifying to imagine. And the trio of Kawhi, Scotty, CMB is the thing I keep on coming back to, of just like, I cannot wait to watch those guys play basketball together. And I think for me too, like, they have a shot to be like the single best team in the league at playing small, which I think if you can be the best team, best at a thing in the league, that is like what drives how the league operates, right? That's what drives trends. And I think that is open for them here now too, with that CMB, Scotty, and Kawhi trio. It's just, there's so many tendrils of this that are exciting, understanding all of the risks. I just think, um, you know, back to the young guys, I think, like,
Just
how do I
quickly
put this? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah,
before you go to the young guys, I want to add
yeah,
the
yeah.
reason why they can be the best at being small is because they can be the best at playing strong.
Sure. Yes. Just some strong lads out there. Dudes
Yeah,
just
between
lifting. Yeah.
Kawhi and
100%.
Scotty and CMB, they're going to be very strong to make up whatever they don't have in terms of height.
Yeah. Totally. And to land the plane on my point here, I think that I was trying to get to off the top before I got
My
sidetracked
bad.
thinking about those three guys playing together. No, it's not your fault. It's my fault. I just keep daydreaming about those three guys. But the like, if I compare this to like the summer of 2022, right, where they went into the summer and they didn't do a whole lot in terms of big swing moves. There were moves out there they probably could have pursued. Sort of Kevin Durant was kicking around that summer for sure, or that was one of the summers he was around. Damian Lillard, that might have been one of those summers too. Like, there's just like there's been a lot of these summers where the Raptors are in on these potentially disgruntled or ready to move stars. They didn't do it that year, and they put all of their chips into the internal development basket, and I think that's what hurt them, right? They didn't supplement what they had. Now they have this young sort of shadow core, and also they've supplemented it by going and getting a top 10 player in the world. And I think that is where you can actually bank more on the internal development, because I think playing on a team like this is only going to be good for those guys as far as getting where they want to go. It's I don't know, man. I get more. I've gotten more excited and stoked about this since it happened. As time has gone on, just thinking about all the permutations of how this team's going to play, I cannot wait. Do you have any last parting sort of first blush responses to the trade before we get into the pick stuff?
Uh, I mean, just excitement, right? Like, how can you not be like when you came off the Cavs series?
Mhm.
You were encouraged by the toughness of the guys. You came away thinking that, oh, this team is a bunch of dogs. Scotty looks like an incredible player, a postseason performer. But there was also the questions of is what does the path to taking the next step look like?
Mhm.
And Bobby found a way. Uh, yeah, I think to your point, coming back to the young guys to keep a hold of Colin Murray-Boyles and Jacoby Walter and Jamal Shed, uh, and have that depth moving forward, which is of course so important in the NBA today.
Mhm.
Uh, I think that's the biggest thing moving forward with this window.
Totally. We'll come back and we'll get into some talk about the window, because the window is clearly for the next handful of years, and the way the Raptors have sent these picks out, I think, kind of plays into that a little bit. We'll talk about the pick outlay going to the Clippers, whether it's good or bad that it's far out picks going their way. We'll talk about that as we continue to bask in the afterglow of the Kawhi Leonard trade on today's show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and the biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every match feels like it has the potential for a memorable moment. One goal can completely change the energy of a game, shift momentum, and alter the outcome in an instant. That is what makes tournament soccer so exciting, from the opening whistle to the final kick. And now FanDuel is giving fans another reason to stay locked into every matchup with every goal pays. Better to match and get bonus bets for every goal that's scored in that match. More goals means more bonus bets. All you got to do is turn on your token. And there's a game today that I got my calendar circled for. My calendar? I don't know. I'm really looking at the Belgium-Senegal game as a game that's going to be awesome, because Senegal is wildly entertaining, very attack forward. Belgium has plenty of attacking talent too, and that could be a bit of a barn burner. So if you're looking to throw some money, say on the underdog Senegal, and also try to get a lot of goals out of the deal, that might be your game today on the slate in the World Cup. Get that benefit from every goal scored from the opening whistle to the final kick. Let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. Back at it here with Big V, Vivek Jacob, as we continue to talk about how the Toronto Raptors employ Kawhi Leonard again. Before we get into the pick stuff, we probably should just hit on just like, how cool is it? How like narratively satisfying is it that after all of these years, after all of the heartbreak of him leaving, after everything, that he's just like, yeah, Toronto's where I want to go. And yeah, money's part of it. Sure, they were one of the only teams willing to pay him up, but like, I think other teams would have done this had there been an inclination he would have signed there. And to me, the fact that he just like clearly is comfortable with the franchise, clearly has roots here that he's happy to revisit. I mean, great job not burning the bridge in 2019. I guess they could have gone scorched earth after he left and made it awkward and terrible. They didn't do that. There was no Comic Sans email sent out by Larry Tannenbaum. Good job there. Just kind of keeping that door open. I just, it's for a Raptors fan base that has struggled with inferiority for so long. This is kind of the ultimate culmination of Masai Ujiri saying, believe in your city, believe in yourself, man. From that very first Kawhi Leonard press conference, it took 7 years to pay off, but it paid off, man.
Yeah, it did. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that is an important piece of this where, some of the narrative that came out of Kawhi leaving was that there's literally nothing that would make a superstar want to stay in Toronto, right? Like if you can win a championship and still leave immediately, what does it say? And so now that, there was real attachment to the city. There was belief in, when Shams is listing out the reasons for why he's coming back, the familiarity with the front office, even with Masai gone. I think that's, an even bigger tip of the cap that Masai is gone, and he's still saying, yeah, well, I know enough of what's still there to believe in it, to believe in Alex McKechnie, to see the value in all of those things. I think that's an important piece of this for not just the Raptors fan base, but the general narrative, right? The fact that after all this, he's coming back and saying, yeah, I think this is absolutely the best situation for me.
Totally, man. Like, Yeah, I mean, this was always the hope when Masai left, if Masai left, that we always kind of, talked about the potential dalliances with the Wizards or the Knicks, or, moving on to become a politician or something. Like, the hope was always that when he did move on, however that took place, that what he had built would be strong enough in his wake to stand the test of time. And very clearly that has held up to some degree, at least in the eyes of Kawhi Leonard, which is huge. And yeah, to the narrative thing, like, look, yeah, he left Toronto. I think anyone who was paying attention knew that it wasn't because he like hated Toronto or didn't like his experience here. I think it was very obviously just I want to go be at home during my late 20s, early 30s with a young family. That's what I want. And I think you can't really begrudge a guy for that. And I know there are plenty of, I've seen it in the comments, right? There are plenty of people out there who still hold ill will, though I think the sort of ratio of the number of people went down precipitously after the trade happened versus before, when the trade happened and we were just speculating about it. People got over that real quick, I'd say. But like, it was never because he like turned the cold shoulder to the city. It was because he had just a thing he prioritized more. And I don't think you could ever really begrudge him for that. And I don't think people who went on to enjoy the following season, yes, it was silly that he didn't maybe see the opportunity to win in Toronto after having just won the championship. Like, that team would have been a wagon for sure. But I think the idea that he left because Toronto was just not it as a destination, I think was always overblown and kind of conflated with he just wanted to be back home, as opposed to I don't want to be in Toronto. Let's talk about the picks. Come down yesterday, later after the trade, after I recorded the reaction episode, that it is the 2031 and 2033 unprotected first going from the Raptors to the Clippers, along with a 2027 swap that's like a 3-team swap involving the Thunder that I don't much care about, frankly, because it's none of my business. It's a swap. It's going to convey or it won't. And the Raptors should be pretty good next year. So I don't really think you got to worry too much about that hurting them. So I think there was a hope among people when this trade went down. And I think this was kind of my original stance, was hopefully you just get the picks out of the way early and keep the longer term ones for the post Kawhi era still on the books. I've actually come around, I think, I'm not actually upset, and I think it might actually be beneficial the way they've done this. And it's what the Clippers probably wanted as well. So it's not like the Raptors like won the negotiation or whatever. I also think like this can just be a trade that works for both teams and it's fine, and no one has to have fleeced another for the trade to be good. But I think the way I sort of put it in the reaction video I put up yesterday, it's like the future picks to me kind of give this window a little lower risk. First of all, like, you are insulated against the sort of disastrous season from hell if Kawhi gets hurt and more guys get hurt in the next couple of years, and you're not really going to be at risk of giving up a huge high ranking pick. And then there's also just the element of it's 5 to 7 years from now. Scotty and Murray-Boyles will still be in their primes when that time comes around. And if they're still on the team and you haven't traded them for a boatload of picks that make you not worry anyway, like, you should be set up enough that you're not totally destitute and handing over top 5 picks in those years to the Clippers. So that's kind of where, and it gives you more flexibility in the next few years too, right? To just like draft young, cheap, controllable talent to fill in the roster that is very expensive with Kawhi, and give you that sort of next wave of young guys to then go into the post Kawhi era with, even if you don't have those picks. I don't know. What do you make of the pick outlay here? Does it change your view of the trade at all?
I think the risk profile increases, but the parameters stay the same. I think this still comes down to, in terms of success of the deal, having an opportunity to go on 2 deep playoff runs. If you get 2 deep playoff runs, or you get a title, it's all good, right?
Totally, yeah.
Like, then everything is fine. And you are, again, banking on Kawhi being healthy when it matters most for that to happen. And so, yeah, the downside risk is he's 35 with the chronic condition that has to be managed. And, let's face it, when the Clippers got Kawhi and Paul George, everyone was looking at that as sort of the best two-way wing duo. And obviously, Scotty's a very different player from Paul George, but we're talking about them in a similar way. And so the Clippers have shown there's a path where it doesn't work out.
Sure.
And so that's where, you know, the reality will dictate on whether, you know, surrendering unprotected picks was worth it. Because, you know, if you want to be the pessimist in this, you would argue that, oh, it's a little convenient that Kawhi, you know, going into a contract year where he had to nail down an extension, found a way to play the minimum 65 games and play his best basketball. And if you look at before that, you know, coming into the 6 years with the Clippers before that, he played in, I believe, 56% of the regular season games. So yeah, that's an undeniable risk that you're taking. You're banking on Alex McKechnie delivering. And so, yeah, if you enter a situation where it doesn't work out and then you have to kind of pivot quickly and, you know, if things don't work out, then there's other considerations of where's Scotty at with all this? Where's, you know, Colin Murray-Boyles at with all this? So, yeah. But again, those are problems that you can't be projecting for, like, you know, what might be in terms of the worst case scenario. Like, you put yourself in a position to take a swing. And so now you're taking that swing at arguably the one player that gives you the best chance of doing so.
Totally. And look, this might not end in a title. It probably won't end in a title because most things you do to build a team don't end in a title. That is not the barometer for whether or not this was a good decision or not. I think you put it great. Like, if they go on 2 deep playoff runs the next couple of years, I think it justifies it. If they prove to Scotty Barnes, like, yeah, dude, we're invested in you. We're going to put the best team around you possible. And, you know, whatever happens in this window with Kawhi, like, you know that we'll still have you and we're going to keep investing in you beyond that as well. Like, I think that's worth it too. It's a show of belief that Scotty Barnes is the dude you want to build this thing around. And so, yeah, man, I just, like, I get it. People like to hug the picks. People get scared about the future distant picks 5 and 7 years from now. I just think if you are a fan of the team and they just traded for this guy who's beloved in these parts, who we know exactly what he's capable of, and your first blush response is, I wish the picks were in 2028 and 2030 instead, I just kind of think you're doing it wrong a little bit and need to loosen up. It's going to be a blast these next handful of years. I think we'll have a chance of being more fruitful, again, because they're not giving up those picks and you've kind of mitigated the risk of him having an injury season from hell and nuking the season and you losing a high pick in this new lottery world. And you also just have those extra picks on hand, either to make draft picks or use them as further trade chips to go and fill out the roster around these guys. It's I think a good balance. And like I said, I think this is just like a winning trade for both teams. And I think that can be fine. I think there's this sort of idea with trades that unless you totally fleeced a team, you lost the deal. And that's just not what trades are. Like, trades are meant to be beneficial to both teams. That is the concept. And I think we got jealous from, not jealous. We got spoiled by the Grievous Vasquez for OG and Norm trade and all the other sort of fleecings the Raptors did over the years. That's not how it typically works. And, like, there's got to be give and take on both sides. I think it's a fine amount on both sides here for the Raptors and Clippers. We'll come back, get into how the Raptors can approach filling up the rest of this roster, Big V, as they're not super flush with options. It's going to be mostly minimum signings from here on out, it seems, with a few roster spots to fill. We will get into our favorite minimum signing guys, baby, at the bottom of a very robust and very good, definitely free agent pool. We'll do that coming up in just a second. Back at it here on your Wednesday, day after Kawhi episode of Locked On Raptors. I'll have more stuff coming on this, of course. Katie Heindl's going to be on tomorrow. Katie wrote a wonderful piece today for Basketball Feelings about the trade, about Kawhi, about nostalgia. We'll talk plenty about that on tomorrow's show. Joe Wolfond will be along on Friday. We'll start to dive into the X's and O's of how this team is going to play, how they're going to stack up in the Eastern Conference. And later today, I'm just going to do a little bonus episode where I'm just going to go off the cuff with 12 takes about the Toronto Raptors trading for Kawhi Leonard. Just takes. I love doing takes. So, look for that a little bit later on here on Canada Day. Big V, the minimum signing market. That is what we're scouring now, assuming There aren't going to be any other big trades right now. Obviously, you get into the regular season. We'll see what happens once we see how the team plays. RJ Barrett's an expiring contract. We'll see what happens if that becomes something the Raptors look to. Do you split him up into multiple contracts? Do you make a trade? Do you bring him to UFA? Do you retain him long term? All the options are on the table there. But for now, I think we can probably safely say like big roster shifting moves are probably done. They've done a pretty big one already. And so it's filling in on the margins now. I think we can say going into this season that you're going to have the starting five of Quickly, Barrett, Kawhi, Barnes, and Pirtle. The bench will be comprised of Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Colin Murray-Boyles, of course, who maybe you should put money on for Sixth Man of the Year. He's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. You've got Jamison Battle. You've got Alan Graves. We'll see how he factors in. And then, kind of fill it in from there. Elijah Martin sounds like he's going to get converted. They've got some roster filling still to do, but I don't think anyone they sign with this minimum contract or minimum contract still have to hand out is going to shift what the playoff rotation is going to look like, for example. It's purely about kind of weathering the regular season. Who on the market for you, Big V, are you eyeing as someone who could, in fact, help them weather the regular season? And what positions are you kind of looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two big areas that you're looking at are probably center and point guard.
Sure.
I think those are the two areas that you want to address. And when you're looking at the minimums, I don't know if Robert Williams is going to be quite at the minimum, but
he's already signed with the Blazers for lots of money. So that's out. Signed that yesterday. Robert Williams, he re-signed with the Blazers yesterday.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I totally missed that. So my bad. Erase that. Erase the tapes.
I'm leaving it in, baby.
Okay, so he's out. Point guard wise, I did have Mike Conley on the list.
Yeah, ring chasing Mike, baby. Let's go. So he's very washed, but I don't care.
Yeah, like he is washed, but I to your point, I don't think you're necessarily looking for him in the postseason. And it's sort of shepherding through the regular season, being a good vet, someone who can kind of take on the Garrett Temple role, but give you more in the playing department. And
Big V. This one you're forgiven by. Literally 2 minutes ago, Mike Conley signed by the Boston Celtics.
Oh. Well, now I'm afraid to say a name because
this segment's going swimmingly. Can I throw two names? As you pick up the pieces?
What's that?
Can I throw out two names as you pick up
the pieces?
Yes,
please do.
Okay. And you can Google if they've been signed as I name them. Andre Drummond is out there. He's not been very good the last couple of years. He had a bit of a resurgence last season. The year before, he was like one of the worst players getting minutes in the NBA. Very elite skill in that he still grabs a bazillion rebounds per minute whenever he's out there. Started to hit some corner threes this year, which I don't know if I totally buy it, but that's fun. A fun little oddity. As just like a backup center to soak up some minutes. If Jakob Poeltl misses time, I think you could do a lot worse than Andre Drummond. And another guy, if you're trying to go and try to find like the next Mamu sort of undervalued guy who's got some talent who maybe hasn't shown it in a winning context before, call me crazy, but I might try to ring up Marvin Bagley's people and say 2 years, you get the Mamu special, player option on the second year on the minimum. You played solid basketball last year for a pair of tanking teams in the Wizards and the Mavericks. You're not a good defensive player, but maybe we can sort of cover for that with the incredible wing play we have. And you showed some flashes. You shot 46% on a tiny volume of threes. Maybe there's something there to tap into. And it's like a prove it deal for Marvin Bagley. Can you be a functional player as like a deep depth guy on a good team and hang around in the league as a player like that? I think that's a worthwhile sort of flyer to take, considering these aren't high stakes moves. These are just guys that you're trying to fill out the roster with, and maybe you get someone to pop like Mamu did. I don't think you're going to get someone to pop exactly like Mamu did, because man, did he pop, but similar kind of idea of prove it, 2-year minimum, second-year player option to just kind of see, can this work, what you've done in these sort of tanking environments in a more competitive context. So those are the two that stand out to me. I'm so mad Mike Conley got signed, dude. That makes me very, very angry. Bring back Kyle, I guess.
Bring back Kyle for a day. Yeah, yeah, that is a bummer.
Yeah.
And I'm a little surprised with how much money Robert Williams got.
Yeah, he got paid, man.
But hey, the Blazers are doing some strange things. So, yeah, I don't know what the options are. I'd have to look a bit deeper. Those were the two that kind of
But that's
popped
the thing.
to
We've
me.
kind of exhausted them. It's a pretty thin group.
So the Knicks didn't keep Huck Porty, right? Like,
no,
I
he's
think
not with
maybe
the Sixers. Yeah.
he's signed with the Sixers.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. This is just
I love
tremendous.
this segment, by
Yeah,
the way. This is
this is
fantastic. This is
phenomenal.
podcasting during
this is-
the off season.
This is how you know I've been covering the World Cup.
Right. But this is the thing. Like, I recorded yesterday morning's show in just terror that Kawhi was going to get traded in the middle of it. So this is the ground we're playing in as we record in the opening of free agency.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's a thin
kind of slim
scene up there.
pickings.
Yeah.
Um,
Colin Sexton, I don't know if he's going to get more than the minimum, honestly. He might deserve it on his numbers, but I just don't see a team out there like giving him a lot of cake. Maybe that's a 2-year option type of thing too, right? Like, come improve it, Colin Sexton, and then maybe you get paid this summer after playing for a winning team for once. You know what I mean?
yeah. I guess is I'm just gonna ask, is Tyus Jones a free agent?
I think Tyus Jones might be a free agent. I don't think he signed like a multi-year deal or anything with the Nuggets last year. Let's pull it up on the fly here. This is excellent podcasting.
I mean,
he is a UFA. Yes, he's also bad, but
I mean, again, we're just looking at
getting bad
like
guys. Yeah,
get through the regular season, and we have slim pickings with no Mike Conley and no Robert Williams and no anybody, it seems, that I say.
yeah. Gabe Vincent is a UFA. Does that interest you at all?
I mean, it seems
I've
like
never been much of a Gabe Vincent head myself.
It seems like he's just been injured a lot.
Yeah.
So it seems like a perfect fit. No. Yeah, like, again, you're looking for sort of very, very specific niches to fill within the roster, and you're looking to get through the regular season grind. You're looking to have a bit of a veteran presence. So yeah, like, man, the Conley thing is a bummer. Like,
yeah,
that would have
really
checked
fun.
a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
For a minimum contract.
There is, of course, an old friend, Gary Trent Jr. Interested?
Nah, not really.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd literally rather play AJ Lawson.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Yeah, it's not exactly there's Javon Carter. He was okay for the Magic at the end of last season. This is the ground you're playing in. So maybe we don't need to just like keep saying names of mid players. Maybe Anferny Simons, he's out there potentially as like a prove it 1-year deal. But again, is he going to go for the minimum after making $20 million a year? Who's to say? Once you're on the minimum, it's hard to get off the minimum. We know that. So I would imagine that's not going to be his first choice, but who knows? Either way, I don't think whoever they fill the roster out with is changing the outlook for the team all that much. It will help them surely navigate 82 games, but I think they have enough in store to probably do that reasonably well anyway. And I think you can kind of leave it there. Any parting shots here, Big B, before we get out of here?
Sign a free agent before I say their name. Is
we had 2 good segments on this podcast. That's all right. I'll be back later.
2 for 3, man. That's going to be the theme of the next 3 years. Like, can Kawhi play 2 out of 3 games? You make 2 out of 3 playoff runs? Yeah,
perfect.
So we're just fitting right in, baby.
We just love the narrative symmetry on this podcast, don't we? what do you want to plug for the people out there? Lots of World Cup stuff, I bet.
Now that we've talked about this 2 for 3 and all of that, go watch Kyle and DeMar talk about 2 for 3. And you remember that segment?
Yes. USC, baby.
Yeah. No, doing a bunch of World Cup stuff. I will be getting into the Morocco of it all and how Canada could potentially shock the world. I've got a piece on the both the optimist and the pessimist side of this trade, and what would maybe define success for it, what would make it a failure. So you can go check all of that out at Yahoo. I know Raptors in 7 has kind of been on a hiatus, but it's just been a crazy time covering the World Cup, and whatever time I find to get back on there, I promise I will.
I don't think you're not doing a bad thing by covering this World Cup and prioritizing that, because this World Cup rocks and your coverage has been great, and we appreciate you for it. Good thing we didn't talk about Mo Wagner, because he just signed with the Nets for 2 years and $19 million. So that's one guy we didn't throw out there erroneously.
Is Goga a free agent?
Is Goga a free agent? I don't think Goga's a free agent, but we can look that up to finish off this very, very good podcast.
One Georgian for another, baby.
Why not? No, he's got 1 year left at $7.6 million.
Okay, so that's
not going to be there, but maybe next summer as a minimum guy. Just
go.
1 year Georgia hiatus for the Toronto Raptors, perhaps. Either way, thank you so much to all for subscribing, following, rating, reviewing, telling your friend. Always appreciate it when you support the show. Back again later with my 12 takes about the Kawhi Leonard trade. Just rattling off them opinions, baby. And then, we'll be back again tomorrow. Katie Heindel, Joe Wolfond on Friday. Loads of coverage of this trade for the next handful of days, weeks, months. It's all very exciting. And can't wait to have you along for the ride. Welcome into the fans of only Kawhi Leonard, which is a thing apparently. We got a lot of new people subscribed to the channel just saying, I'm a Kawhi fan. I'm glad to be here. We're glad to have you. I don't really relate to this style of fandom, but I totally appreciate it, and I'm glad to have you along for the ride, baby. But yeah, thanks so much for supporting the show. We'll talk to you on Thursday and later today with a bonus show. Bye-bye.
Happy Canada Day.
Bang. Hey! That was like a Kawhi Leonard laser jumper from the free throw line. Baby.